One of the things, because he was asked about how light he is, right? Because he lost some weight, and he didn't even want to say how light he is. Again, you know that when he didn't want to talk about weight, let's see if Sean can pick up the same thing I thought of. When he didn't want to when he didn't want to answer the weight question, is there anything in the past you think that might have like said, why am I going to talk about this? Is there anything you can remember from the media, Sean? Is there a national outlet that you remember that was convinced he was under 200 pounds? Now you remember, right?
Our buddies. Right? That was Florio and Sims, right?
It's Florio and Sims. Oh, no, he's 200 pounds. He's not that, and this is before he gained the weight for last year and trying to protect himself and all that kind of stuff. And they were convinced he was like 195 or something like that. You know what I mean? And he was like 215, 220 at that time before he added the weight, by the way. And so it's hilarious because, again, this goes back to the contract. He doesn't want to talk about personal shit with you people. Why? Because then we take it to extremes. And the weight thing, there you go. You had a national outlet that was constantly, feeding their own narrative, constantly lying. Because we know he wasn't 195 or something. Because Sean and I would, every time they would talk about that, we're like, yo, bro, we were at practice. We were standing next to the guy. There's no way he weighs 195. We know what 195 looks like. That guy weighs 220. And last year, whatever, he must have been 235. So that, and you can lose the weight and still be as strong. That there's no doubt about that. You don't necessarily have to add like a layer of fat on you. Instead, with muscle, because he had some muscle, but he also had kind of a little like a layer of baby fat, because that's kind of who he is. And now you trim down and you can be just as strong. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I really want to talk about, because the rest that's just a caveat to what we were talking about. Here's where I got to make sure that Tua knows who he is, because 2 years ago we went through this. Okay, we had a lot of idiots out there. Oh, Tua needs to quit football. He's concussion prone, this, that. And I was completely against the grain on that. I was like, he's not concussion prone. He's irresponsible. He's holding on to the ball too long. And holding on to the ball too long, that's what's getting those extra hits and the brutal hits, because you don't want guys to have 4 or 5 seconds to get at you. It's just not going to end well for any quarterback. I don't care who it is, much less guys like Tua that are smaller than Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? So obviously it's worse for a guy like Tua than it is for Cam Newton. But now that you have lost the weight, and he talks about extending plays, Tua has to extend plays with intelligence. That's going to be the key. He's going to have to pick and choose which plays, and he has to use his ability to feel the rush, because he can do that. He's very good at that, all right, and not play hero ball. So that's one of the things that while I'm hearing him, and it's great that he loses weight, it's good for him to have a little bit more mobility and all of that, but I don't want him to then try to think that he has to force something that he cannot do. And taking extra hits is something he cannot afford to do. That's not in his game. Now, if you want to buy an extra half a second or second to get that throw off, and you're going to stay clean because you have great awareness of what's going on around you, then, hey, baby, go do it. Fantastic. I've seen him do it before. So it doesn't matter. I've seen him buy time. I've seen him extend plays. But I get it. Now you'll be able to do it a little bit more, but it still has to be done with intelligence and great anticipation. It cannot be done with the thinking that I'm going to be a hero today. That cannot happen. We cannot have that. So I'm all in on Tua losing weight. I'm not all in on Tua extending plays to the point that he puts himself at physical risk. Now, he already experienced it, so I think he's going to avoid it. I truly believe that. But, let's hope that he, does it the right way.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.